Hey everybody, welcome back to the Diet Doctor YouTube channel. I want to talk to you about another piece of news we have that's probably going to speak to a few people out there, because when we talk about a low carb or a keto diet, I know a lot of you out there probably still feel, well, is this really a legitimate thing? You might be concerned about jumping on the latest fad because there's lots of social media news and what I would call fake news that keto and low carb is a fad. And people read that, and I can see how people would get worried about that and be like, I don't know if I want to try this. Or if you're a clinician and you say, look, I need to make sure I'm practicing within the standard of care. And if I'm outside of that, what does that mean for my reputation? What does that mean for me legally? And how do I know I'm helping the patients more than I'm hurting them? So you want to be firmly convinced that low carb or keto is standard of care. And it really is. And the news piece I'm talking about is how the American Diabetes Association, the ADA, came out with an update of their recommendations and guidelines. And specifically, it was called Facilitating Behavior Change to Improve Health Outcomes for people with type 2 diabetes. And throughout this paper, they endorse low carb diets. Now, the title of my post on dietdoctor.com was that they cautiously endorse low carb, and let's talk about that. Now, to their credit, they talk about how everybody's different, and there's not one diet to fit everybody, and you have to consider people's goals and their preferences and their background. They also said there's no one macronutrients percentage makeup of an appropriate diet, which concerns me a little bit. I mean, I think they risk being a little too superficial, but fortunately they go a little bit deeper beyond that. And then they do talk about the benefits of low carb, and they acknowledge the science behind low carb diets, improving glycemia and improving diabetes. But the reason I say cautiously in the title, that ADA cautiously endorses it, because they also talk about the low carb diet being difficult to follow and to sustain long term. And there I have a little bit of an issue because, I mean, let's face it, any behavioral change is difficult to maintain for the general population, whether you're talking about quitting smoking, whether you're talking about starting an exercise program, or any dietary change, whether it's low fat, cutting calories, or even just cutting out junk food. For the general population, any behavioral change is challenging. But when you have studies like the study from Virta Health showing over 80% compliance at 1 year and 74% compliance at 2 years, to me, that speaks volumes to this not being all that challenging, or certainly not any more challenging than any other behavior change. So singling out low carb diets to say they're challenging, I didn't like that part of the report, but I really liked how they definitely endorsed low carb nutrition as effective and useful for treating type 2 diabetes. And it fits in perfectly with their other message that we have to consider people's preferences and what their goals are, and their background and their food taste, because low carb can look lots of different ways, right? Sure, it can be bacon and steak, and that's delicious and people enjoy that. It can also be vegan, and it can be vegetarian. And at dietdoctor.com, we have guides for how to do low carb vegan, how to do keto vegetarian. And there's everything in between. So low carb and keto doesn't mean one thing. But what it does mean is benefiting glucose control, benefiting insulin resistance, reversing type 2 diabetes, improving weight loss. I mean, all those things are proven in the scientific literature to low carb diets. And now the American Diabetes Association once again includes it in their guidelines. So I think that's so important. Going back to how we started this video, for those people who are curious, is this a fad or is this real? Look, the ADA endorses it, right? I mean, this is real. And all you have to do is go to dietdoctor.com to see all the evidence we have behind it, all the success stories, to know that this is real. This is not a fad. And for the practitioner out there, the clinician wanting to use this with their patients, once it's in the guidelines, you have legal, ethical standard to back you up, and you should have no concerns really that this is now part of the standard of care. Now, in my opinion, it should be first-line therapy for just about everybody with type 2 diabetes. We're not there yet, but this is a great step in the right direction. And let's face it, these big organizations, they by necessity need to be sort of slow to change, right? The last post we did on the American Heart Association and their recommendations for lower cholesterol, I mean, that's just egregious example of how they are just resistant to change. And that's how most big organizations are. So kudos to the American Diabetes Association for, again, endorsing low-carb diets. All right. Make sure you click subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll get all these updates, plus all our cooking videos and our podcasts and our inspirational success story videos and all those on our YouTube channel. And go to dietdoctor.com where you'll see all the other information, the guides, the videos, and the programs we have available for you. All right. Have a great day, everybody.